Most leadership programs today teach you how to become a better leader and perform in a most outstanding manner. But almost none of them, they teach you to build an organization where you don't have to prove your excellence on every single day. The organization has to perform, the employees have to work, and all leaders at respective levels must continue to work. But where should you focus? You focus on the organization or you focus on the leaders? Here is an integrated method that I'll share with you. Today, I'll give you the glimpses from deep structure leadership and the ancient Indian concept of Saptang theory. The two of them have succeeded in their own manners and are brilliant. What I shall attempt to give is a comparative study of them and attempt to integrate the two to make the best of them in the 21st century for all the leaders, for all the organizations. Let's go one by one. The deep structural leadership is a fundamental to any organization. The deep structure includes the core values of the organization. It includes its culture and the power dynamics. Now, these combined together give a very robust foundation stone to any organization, any state. Take example of Patagonia for that matter. Patagonia is an apparel industrial leader organization. Patagonia is an industry standard for core values and the values that it has chosen for itself. Like the mission says, we are in the business of to save our home planet. Its values include quality products, integrity, environmentalism, and justice. And it says we are not bounded by the convention. So we find new ways of learning every day. And these values are maintained by Patagonia, started by Ivan Schonard in 1973. The organization has ever since developed, and it's a $3 billion industry today. Netflix is another example that I'm taking to exhibit the power structure or the power dynamics in any company. The more decentralized you are, the faster is the action. If the bottleneck at the upper decision-making level is reduced and the powers are delegated, it results into better output, faster movement, and so on. Netflix was founded by Mark Rudolph and Reed Hastings in California in 1997 as a simple DVD rental business. They grew in about an year's time and launched website for ordering DVDs by emails. See the change. And by 2007, they started online streaming services. And this company today is a $340 billion industry, one of the largest. Just because the power structure that they devised was very dynamic and it depended on not alone the individual decision-making capability, but it developed the entire architecture on the technology and rightful intervention by the engineers and the leaders at appropriate places. They in fact created a live broadcasting platform that actually won them more than 108 million live views when they showed the boxing match between Tyson and Paul, and the beautiful interaction that they created between the technology and the leaders is what took them to this place. The leaders or the engineers could intervene and interrupt should the things go wrong at any point in time. So that the kind of dynamic power structures that it developed, and it took the company to where it is, 325 million paid subscribers in over 90 countries as of today is a great achievement. The third part of deep structure leadership that I wish to talk about is the succession planning or the attrition rate. Today it is so difficult to ensure succession planning, both internal and external, and prevent the attrition rate. Take example of Microsoft, started by Bill Gates and Paul Allen, we all know, 1975. It is a $2.93 trillion worth company. That that had started barely as basic interpreters, but they latched onto MS-DOS, Windows and the products and continued to develop. In 2016, they bought LinkedIn. And that's the kind of environment they were able to provide. Why? Because the succession planning that Satya Nadella in 2014 that he embedded into the company led it to the successful scaling. And he says, Microsoft says, it's not only the individual, but the robust governance by the board of directors of its leaders what matters, and they could intervene at places to improve the weaknesses part of it. The board tenure could be about less than 10 years, and that would give not only continuity but give the robust standing and fundamental strength to the company. Satya Nadella focused on executive continuity and developing leaders at every stage. A dynamic point came in when he introduced dynamic 365 models. That means all employees, all leaders would be judged on a 9-point grid basis. And these 9 points would identify where the leader or an employee stands at the end of, say, 1 year. And they could plan on individuals who are rightful future leaders for different departments and different places. And what he identified, leaders as low, medium low or high low, and taking them to low medium, low high, medium and medium high, and then to high low, high medium and high. So low high, medium high and the high are the leaders they looked for. Medium were the leaders that they focused on for the key leaders to be developed in times. So when you look at this entire deep structure leadership, you understand that these fundamentals have to be ensured, and the company, if looked into from the perspective of growth of organization, that would outlive the tenure of an individual CEO or MD or the owner, then the company survives. Let me now come to Saptang theory. Saptang theory given by Chanakya is part of Arthashastra, and it talks primarily of a state that should have 7 different elements. The 7 elements is the leader, the board members or the departmental heads, and other employees and their audiences or customers. In terms of Kautilya or Chanakya, it says Vijigishu, the Amatyas, that is ministers, and Janapada. So king as the Vijigishu or the CEO as the Vijigishu, with the members, the departmental heads and the employees would become the essence of the 3 main audiences. The others, Durga, Kosha, Danda and Mitra, these additional 4 are essential elements which need to be looked into to continue the state to be in the strongest position, and we need to continue to focus on these aspects. So a Vijigishu has to be totally dedicated to the organization. What Chanakya said was, Praja sukham rajyam. If the Praja is happy, the population is happy, employees are happy, the happiness of the king lies in the happiness of their organization, their employees. And their happiness ultimately will result into output of an organization. So happiness of the employees, happiness of the population is so vital, so important, and that's what is the main task of the CEO. Come next, the board members and the departmental heads, Amatyas. Selection of Amatyas or ministers or departmental head is extremely important, as they would be the ones taking independent decisions. Decentralization is to them, and they would take their respective departments or duties to the highest level. The third is employees or Janapada. Now, more the awareness amongst the employees and the people, better is the performance of the company. And therefore, there is a constant and continuous requirement of training and retraining your employees, making them more aware about the companies, their policies, their outcomes, and so on. Addition of values and culture comes into the company when you talk more to the employees and tell them that ultimate goal of the company is not to generate profits for an individual or the company alone, but it is for the holistic growth of the organization, of the planet, then it goes by. The others are, so Durga. Durga is the protection of the entire organization. Not only physical assets, but the digital assets, the AI assets, which have come into lately in 21st century, they have to be taken into part of it and they have to be defended. Stronger the CEO, stronger the Vijig issue, stronger are the departmental heads and Amatyas, they would be able to protect the company from all kinds of threats, internal as well as external. So that Durga still stands, and no wonder all the major companies, they ensure that their companies are protected. Kosha is the next element. Kosha is finances. Nothing works without the finances. Not only the growth of the finances, but protection of the finances is important. A lot of companies have dwindled or gone to bankruptcy. BlackBerry went into bankruptcy just because they could not manage their finances. The adaptation is one more part, but it went bankrupt. Blockbuster liquidated. Bankruptcy came in. So we need to look after the company's financial health in the most appropriate manner. Integrity has to be part of it. Mitra is the next important element of any state. And if you have the alliances, MOUs and friends across the globe, and better the alliances, better is the execution and better is the performance of the company. So in order to grow the company or grow an organization or to that matter a country, more the MOUs, better is the planning, execution of those MOUs, better is the performance. So Chanakya meant very clearly, in those days it used to be physical interaction. Today we have the AI, the digital network and the technology permits us to connect with as many. But is the number important or is the quality important? We need to understand this. And better MOUs and more better trusted friends, trusted partnership is what will succeed even in today's world. Danda is the last one, the seventh one that he mentioned. Danda means punishment. Now punishment, those days used to be by the army, and in today's context, the organization has its rules and regulations well structured and very well laid out. The employees have to be taught to follow the rules. The citizens in the country have to be taught to follow the rules. Anybody who did not follow the rules and the disciplined life, the country would fail. The organization would fail. And therefore, the importance of dand or punishment is not in delivering the punishment, but making the population and employees aware that they need to be disciplined and organized so that they follow the rules and regulations, and there's no need to punish anyone. And of course, anyone who does it needs to be thrown out of the company, thrown out of the state. And the harsher the punishment, the lesser is the likelihood of its being repeated. It's no 100% truth principle, but a scare is always better than a stick being actually executed. Now, where does the convergence come into play? See, when Saptang theory was given, it was given in the context of a state, and there were multiple more theories given by Acharya Chanakya, wherein you had interstate relations, intra-state relations, given by Mandala theory. This six-fold theory or Shadgunya theory talked about the entire life and stage of a state between peace and war. Would you want peace in the country or would you want war in the country? Ultimate aim is growth, welfare of the population, of the employee in the country or in any organization. So in case that is to be ensured, an individual who is the head of the organization or the CEO and the board members are responsible to create an environment wherein the peace prevails. Peace would prevail by way of Samashraya. Samashraya is creating alliances and then taking a position, asana. So if you ally yourself with good friends and like-minded people around, you can then position yourself the way you want to in the market, and you can be the industry standards. So when you compare the two and you find that this conversion argument is the single argument that I can share with you, wherein the deep structure talks about the fundamentals of values, culture and power structure, and how you execute and go deep down into every aspect and not remain only surface oriented. Showing something in the ad is one part, where you only showing part, and execution of the detailed tasking, wherein the task is completed and employees are happy. You remember the managerial grid. Those things can be brought into very efficiently if you put the deep structure leadership here and bring in the elements of Chanakya's Saptang theory. Those are 7 elements. Out of this, if anyone goes bad, that particular part of the organization will go bad. Say for example, the manufacturing unit is weak or inefficient. Therefore, what happens is manufacturing is affected, supply and chain puts the pressure on positioning or depositing or collecting the material. And when manufacturing does not take place, it affects the sales, it affects the marketing, it affects the profits. So one element that is not working, say manufacturing, connect it with the leaders in the manufacturing department, connect it with the Vijigishu, Amatya and the employees in that part of the organization. Why are they not being able to do it? The moment you go into details, whether it is the Kosha which is affecting them or some other internal issues of alliances which is affecting or execution that is affecting, the moment you put the two together, things can be resolved and better outcome can be thought of. Well, these are some of the thoughts that I was thinking, and if you put the two and attempt to find out which one is weaker, which was stronger, that's a matter of discussion, and you can keep discussing. But if you bring the best of the two together, the ancient Indian sciences given by Saptang theory in this form and the deep structure leadership, the integration gives us a way forward to 21st century. And all that I wish to convey to the audience is to understand the two and use them as and where it is applicable. I am working with Jolton from Hungary. We will be co-authoring a paper on this with European governance as one part of it, and maybe that some scholarly integration of the thoughts and ideas with these two concepts is likely to bring out an international collaboration that would bring a joint paper for the good of the organization, good of the business, good of the society. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, do subscribe, do like it, and share with friends who may need it. Thank you very much.